okay no matter what. I'm not like, not particular. How much, yeah, how much you want? Yeah, that was probably good. This is running off of the USB. So that way you can actually do it here. Yeah, just hit that and you're good. Slide has the links. Yeah, I think you should be able to get the links. Try. No. Because it's a PDF, I guess.
Oh, use the PDF.
Use the PDF.
Good. There's chairs here. There's chairs. And then I tried to make it an extra table.
Oh, boy.
You think more library, for example, and you can, yes, okay, just.
Okay, we'll see, we'll see.
Trust me.
Okay, I'm gonna trust you on this one. I'm gonna trust you on this one.
Just so my idea that you don't like.
No, well, I'm planning to be, very lighthearted, so.
Stand up here, put your hands in.
Yeah.
So if I do that, if I stand up.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's no point to it.
No, there's no pointer, and I think we were supposed to get pens and then an eraser, you know, like the pen design for the board and the eraser design for the board. We don't have it here.
Okay, so that'll work now, right?
That'll work
If you
now.
go to the next slide, that'll work too.
Yes.
Okay, can you make it thicker?
Little dot. There we go. Yeah. Color. Blue. Very short. That's it.
Less. Start working there.
That's it. Maybe we'll. What did I say? What did I say, Betsy?
6:54, so I was gonna.
Here, you know what? I will,
Some people say the link's not working, so maybe we should open it up to test it.
yeah, let's,
It's not gonna work. We have to-
yeah, so let's do that.
We wanted to. Yeah. Minister? I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, do you need to start it over there? Or is that what you? For some reason, it's not.
Here, actually, let me Thanks for coming. There's plenty of seats in the front and we don't bite, so come on up. Oh, sorry, hearing that. Okay, so we have a presentation that Jonah will give, just kind of going over an overview of the resources. And then we're going to turn it over because this really is a time for question and answers. We don't want it to be us that way. So again, I'm Amy Watkins. I'm the president of the library board, and then we can just interview ourselves as we get out.
I'm Susanna Hill, I'm the vice president.
Eric Mahalitz, trustee.
Greg Belvedere, I'm the library director. Jonah Ritter, second vice president.
I'm Christine Woodcock, I'm the secretary.
Pat Carlemy from the town board.
Betsy Moss, Unionville Library Fund.
John Welsh, town board.
Kevin Derlin, council.
Very good. Thank you. So I'm going to turn it over now to Greg. You're going first.
Oh, I'm going first? Okay, I
Yes,
thought John was gonna go first. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, okay. No, that's fine. So hi, everyone. My name is Greg Belvedere. I am the new director of this library. I was told I should tell a little bit about myself, but then I just want to very briefly explain to you why I think a library is important for a community and the kind of positive benefits it can have for everyone in the community. So I'm originally from Long Island. I have a master's degree in library science. I worked for 4 years at Brooklyn Public Library. And now I live in LaGrange. I've lived there about the past 8 years. I've been living in the area for about 11 years. My wife is a veterinarian, and we decided very early that it was best for her veterinarian salary to do the breadwinning and for me to be the stay-at-home person. But now I'm back at work. And for me, libraries are very important. And to me, it's an obvious thing that a library is important for a community. And this is something that I really got to see firsthand at the first library I worked at. The first library I worked at was in East New York, Brooklyn. For people who are not familiar with the area, it is not a well-off area by any means. It's near one of the more notorious housing projects in the entire city of New York. And so the library in that community was a beacon of light. There's no other way I could say it. You know, kids could come there after school. They had somewhere they could go before their parents got home from work. Same with the older kids. You know, anybody who needed any type of help making that next step in life, whether it was test preparation books for getting a job or something, or, you know, and beyond that, you know, or starting a new business and getting the paperwork and things like this. It's very transformative, you know, and it was always a community center, a place where, you know, as I talked about what happened, the resources for young people, but for, you know, older people, it was a way to connect with people. There's programs, there's books, there's movies, there's all sorts of things. And so for me, I really want to make this space your space, because I know that there are things that are common in all libraries, right? But every community is different. Every community has different needs. And what I really want to do is I really want to hear from everybody about what you would like to see. What could this library be for you? What kind of things could we offer you here that could really benefit everyone? Because let me tell you, there's always a lot of concern with a project like this about dollars and cents. And you're going to hear about this, and I know that's a big concern. But I'm going to argue, number one, that the money you spend on a library is money you get back multiple times. Because you have these resources and the community can pool themselves together and everybody can have them. And if they're used once and they're used again, then it pays off in the long run. But that's just dollars and cents, okay? This is a beautiful, beautiful location for a library. I could not imagine a better location for a library. A library that is situated in the middle of this beautiful park. And it has the real potential to not just be a library, but to be a real community center and something that brings people together. And I think the first step for me in that regard is really talking about where we're sitting right now. Because this is, you know, a shared space. This is a space that we share with the seniors of this community. And so what I would really like, And I think, I understand the feeling that the feeling is this whole space used to be all belong to the seniors, and now we have to share it with the library. And I don't want anybody to think of it like that. I want to make this space a space that the seniors of this community can all come to and all feel comfortable with, and have lots of things to keep them occupied and keep them engaged with each other, not just on a Friday, but all week. I don't want to take half this library and give half to the seniors. I want the seniors to have this whole library if they want to use it, but realize that we also have the resources to improve it. So tell me, what do you want? What can we do here? And I would love to hear from you, because, and I don't want this to be an antagonistic thing. I think we can work together and make the space much better than it is right now. And I guess my last point that I want to make really quickly is, in this day and age, maybe younger people would make this argument, say, why do we need a library? I got Google. I got AI. It can tell me the answer really quickly. But some people are starting to realize Google isn't what it was 10, 12 years ago. It used to be, you did a search, the thing at the top of the page was exactly what you wanted. Now you do a search, you're lucky if it's at the bottom of the page underneath a bunch of ads and an AI generated piece of text. That is one of the reasons why having a library is important, because real resources, things made by human beings that can help connect human beings. And so I just want to say, I'm really looking forward to hearing positive contributions from everybody in the community about what they would like to see the library give to them. And I'm also looking for volunteers, because there's a lot of work that needs to get done here, and I'm one man.
Very good. Good job. Thank you. And we are going to give time for those suggestions and questions. But Jonah had a few informational things he wanted to share, and then we'll go through the best way to ensure everybody's voice is heard.
Now you see why we chose to have Greg work.
Yeah,
He's going to be a valuable
already.
So my name is Joan. I've lived in the town for 36 years. And when I first heard the thought of a library, I wasn't too keen on it, for probably a lot of the reasons some people have not been. What's this going to cost us? Why do we need it? And I really gave it a lot of thought. And I have some different views today. And I want to share some information with you, and maybe you'll start to see how you can look at this, how we can all look at this. So welcome to your library. And Greg's going to help me with the slides. This is what's called a Promethean board. You can advance, please. And if you have an organization or a group that wants to have a meeting, make a presentation, have a speaker, this is a tremendous expensive asset that a lot of communities don't have for their town, for their residents. This is something that you can use yourselves as an organization. So it's interesting, we're here to decide, should we have a library or not? And that's an interesting question. I want to reframe that, because we have a library. You already do. This is it. Okay. You can find us at the website. You can find us at Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. And please, subscribe, join all of those. And you can find us right here at Time Moore Park, in the center of our town. Next slide, please. We are not deciding tonight. Pardon me. We're not deciding tonight to build upstairs. We're not deciding tonight on a budget for what we're going to spend upstairs. That's not what we're deciding. That is going to be maybe a year or 2 or 3 out. That's the future. And that decision will be made by all of us in a future date, because we don't know what it's going to cost. We haven't got the engineering done. We haven't got bids. We haven't got money. There's a lot of things that have to happen. All we're talking about now is what you see. Can you come in here with your grandkids or your children to sit down and have a book reading? Can you have a meeting, as we were just talking about? You can charge your phone. You can access books. You can request books. You can get help from the librarian. We have programs that are going to happen outside, like 101 bird watching, going through the park. or book walks and all sorts of wonderful things. Are you all going to use this? Everything? Of course not. Does everybody here use the Equestrian Center? Has everybody been playing tennis all year? Okay, right. We don't all use everything. Has everybody here gone on a walk around the whole lake and everything? Right. We don't all use everything, but there's benefits here for children, adults, and so forth. And we're not here to decide that expenditure. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, I'm just going to show you, and you can find this on our website, our mission. I'll read just the mission. I'm not going to go through the vision. We're committed to creating a welcoming and inclusive environment that fosters a love of learning, promotes literacy, empowers individuals to achieve their personal and professional goals. In a way, the spirit that you heard from this librarian director just now, that's kind of where it's at, right? And I'm trying to get that across too. The vision you can read off of our website. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so you have this choice, this proposition. Proposition 2, yes or no. So I'm going to frame that for you before I quote. No. Okay. There's been a lot of talk about we could spend $93,000, $5,000 to get into the library system. That's true. There's a number of towns that would love your money. Okay. We can spend that money, right? And what you will have is access to the library system. Okay. They will lift the restrictions at the libraries. It's important to understand what these restrictions are. As a New York State resident, taxpayer, resident, so forth, you have rights in public libraries across New York State, Albany, Manhattan. You have tremendous rights as a New York State citizen in public libraries. But libraries in a system can restrict you if they want to do that. They don't have to, but if they think you're a burden on them, they can restrict you. So what do? We're not allowed to borrow non-print items like DVDs, CDs, video games. We've been taking our grandkids to libraries for years. And we were down in Beacon and we've been using their library for years with our little grandchildren. And then one day we went to take out a multimedia item. And all of a sudden, you're in Unionville. Oh, you can't take this out. But we continue to use the library. No problem. You're not going to get kicked out. Okay, so you may not have access to digital access. We're going to talk about that in a second. And special collections, sometimes a special collection. Okay, that's true. LaGrange, Millbrook, Beekman, probably Pauling too, even if you went up to Rhinebeck. Okay, so there's what happens. No, you spend 90, and by the way, it goes up. So in like 5 years, you're up to over 100, almost $108,000. Okay, if you vote no, you're voting to spend, presumably, because that's what they think they want to do, possibly, right? That's a possible way we go. You're voting to spend maybe $95,000, and those restrictions will be lifted. It doesn't give you the right to walk in the library. You can do that now. Just lifts these restrictions. Let's go to the next slide and talk about yes. What if you say yes? Well, again, that yes is not a renovation. That yes is not a budget for a renovation. Okay, let's be clear about that. That has to be approved. There is no proposal, no motion to spend any amount of money today for renovations, and that will not happen without a whole process. What yes will do. Let's go to the next slide. What else will we get if we vote yes? What else if we get? Well, what do we have now? And that's going to be my last slide. Let's move ahead. Oh no, my second last. Okay, so first of all, there's realizing I'm so what you have here on the left, these links aren't going to let us go anywhere right now, but you have access to Novell, New York, which is because you're a New York State resident. An incredible resource pool. Press Reader, you wouldn't believe it. When Greg heard we had access to Press Reader, he's like, oh my gosh, that's incredible.
No other libraries around here, as far as I've seen, have that. It gives you access to around 7,000 different newspapers around the world. I forget how many hundreds of different magazines. Think about what that would cost you if you wanted those online subscriptions.
You have that now, right now. Overdrive, another set of resources. Canopy, Libby, excuse me. You have access to thousands of books, audios, movies. Right now, the electronic resources. Get your library card, and Greg has library cards. If you'd like to get one, there's no charge. Fill out a library card. We're going to give you a simple number, and then come down one day and say, Greg, show me how to log into this thing. and on your phone, your home, you can get tons of stuff with your kids or yourself, learning resources. It's amazing. So that is today. That's not spending any more money. Go ahead to the next slide. Okay. So before I show you this slide, I want you to understand something. Everything you have now, what if you paid for it? There's a lot of talk about money. So let's talk money. I'm not going to break it down, but I'm going to give you a number that ought to make an impression on us. Last year, year to date, excuse me, for the year, all of last year, this library spent $47,794. Not 93,000, not 200,000. All these numbers that are getting thrown out. We spent last year $47,794. What have we spent this year to date? $42,566 to date as of September 1. Now that's not to be perfectly forthcoming. It's still that's till September, so we hadn't paid for that board, I don't think, up to this point, right? We're ordering some computers so you can come in here and use a computer and have access to things. So there's a few things that we still have to do, but you can imagine it's not a lot more money. It's probably less than the 93. Okay, well, what do you get for it? Well, first of all, what you get is right here in this room. Look at all of us. We're being represented. You can write a check to the libraries for $93,000. You know what you can do? Nothing. You have no say. It's their library. They'll decide what programs to have. They'll decide what you get for it. You have no control, no say. It's their town. Okay, look what we're doing here. You think you can go into any one of those towns and say, we're holding a meeting to tell you what to do with your library? No. And look what we're doing. We can agree, we can disagree, hopefully as friends and neighbors. But you're being represented. Next point, we're not a burden on other towns. If you don't have your own place, then everybody says, oh, they have to come to us because they don't have their own library. Well, guess what now? We do. So they can't make that argument. They've been making for years now. Unionville is a burden on everybody. Yeah, right. Okay, so they took away the right to access those multimedia sources. Well, guess what? We already have them. We don't need them to give access to them. We got them already. We're not a burden. Home values. One day you're going to go to sell your house. You might get asked, oh, where's the library? Oh, our town doesn't have one. They have kids. May affect you. May not. Okay, but it is generally perceived that a library adds some value to your home. Next point, events and programs. Well, did anybody come to the program with the kids when we had s'mores and hot dogs and we had a fire? We read stories outside. It was adorable. I did a little presentation here about 3 weeks ago on journaling for a better life. Keeping a personal diary. I've been doing diaries for all my life, and I can talk about why. I talked about why that I thought helped me not go nuts. Nuts,
See, it's
less
working.
nuts.
It's working.
Okay, it's obviously not.
You're not selling it. You're not selling it.
Okay, but you can have ideas for programs. We could go on and on with ideas for programs. We got tons. Parents and grandparents. Wouldn't it be nice to say you want to take the kid, but what are you going to do? Bring them down here. Let them read books. Let them check out, play games. Right? Be with other kids. That's cool. Maybe a kid after school. Meet your neighbors. I'll meet you at the library. Rainy day activities. You want to come to the park? It starts to rain on the playground. Let's go inside. We'll get a book, maybe a magazine, maybe just talk, maybe go online, maybe do something together. Homeschooling meeting place. There are folks in this town that do homeschooling. Where do they go to meet one another, to get ideas from one another? Greg has a lot of insight into homeschooling, and we want to put some programs where homeschoolers can get together here to do some things together. Library accessories. You're here at the park and you're like, oh my gosh, my phone's running dead. There's a charger over there. Just come over, put in the charge. The library will keep an eye on it while you walk back outside. Okay. Games, clubs and organizations. I already told you we're using the Promethean board, kind of a cool tool. You have access to it. Access to computers. You heard we have those coming in. You met Greg, the librarian, who can assist you. Library of Things. This is a really cool concept. We have a seed library, but libraries you have to read. They're no longer just for books. In fact, we have no illusions that we're going to put together a massive collection here that will rival Adrian's. We're not trying to do that. Okay, what we want to know is what would you like? And we can always get a book for you. So if you want a book, maybe we get it. And if the other people use it as well. Okay, we'll try to be timely also with exhibits. And a librarian can assist your child with or you with something. The library things, pardon me. That's where we put collections together of stuff that you might borrow from a library that you don't have in your house. Now, I'm not suggesting we do this, but you could have a rototiller. That could be a library of things. And in a rural area, in a farming town, an agricultural community, we could think out of the box about what a library of things should have. We haven't decided that yet. We want input from the community. But keep in mind, a library isn't just books anymore. It's not your old library. Now, there's talk about buying into the Mid-Hudson library system. Guess what the cost is the way it is now, the way it was negotiated? 93 goes up 3%. So in roughly 5 years, you're up to over $108,000. That's what it costs the way they negotiated it. And I said, we could do better. We could do better. Well, it took us getting a charter to go back to them. So we got our charter. There's a bunch of us volunteered. We're not making anything. We're just like you residents that believed in it enough that we donated our time. But we found out that we need to get a charter to get permission to get into the library system. So last month we had a meeting. We say, okay, now July we got our charter. What's it going to cost to get into the library system? What is the typical cost for a library? What do they typically pay? 4 to 8,000. Oh, that 93 to 108, 4 to 8,000. As a library, the figures are totally different.
Yeah, 4,000 to 8,000,
Yes.
not 48.
Yes, 4 to 8. Let's say 6,000. Let's just put it in the middle.
Yeah.
6,000. That 90 becomes, so right off the bat, we saved $90,000. Remember I told you what we spend year to date? Year to date this year, 42,566. Remember the 93? 42,566. You're starting to think like maybe how this might make more sense than you thought. Okay. And that's today's expenditure. So the bottom line is, and we're going to open up the questions now, is we've accomplished a lot. And it hasn't been easy. But I and all of us on this board know we could accomplish so much more if we work together as friends and neighbors. We have things we might not agree on, so we'll compromise. We want the seniors to be happy. We've been trying to meet. We want to meet. We want to figure out ways to make it them thrilled. Or, you know what? You can just take all this stuff out of here. Get rid of all these volunteers. Spend $90-something thousand, and you'll be able to go get a DV out of the people library. If that's what you think is the best thing to do, then you know what? Then vote that way. Or don't vote at all on this. If you're not sure, just don't vote on it. You don't have to vote yes or no. You could say, right now, I'm not ready to say shut this down. I'm not ready to say yes. So that's an option you have too. Thank you very much for considering.
Okay, so I want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to ask a question and be heard. So the biggest thing that we have is respect for one another. So everybody's going to have an opportunity to ask a question. The only thing that I ask us in guide rules is that we don't talk over someone in the middle of them asking a question because we may or may not agree with them. And then for whoever wants to answer the question on the panel, we'll do that. But what I would like to do is for your question, give you 2 minutes. And then just to make sure everybody has time, and then we can always come back for more questions. Question, Paula.
I'm Paula Young. Hi, I have a question and a comment.
Yes.
I am a local business person. I grew up all over the world. I'm multilingual. Came to the United States as a citizen when I was 5. Found the library and have always found libraries. It's a place to go to meet and all that stuff. I have a neighbor who has her little sign that says no. So I asked her. She didn't really have a good reason. It's going to raise my property tax. I said, yeah, but it's going to raise the value of your house and your community. Libraries are cool spaces where you can have a yoga class, your seniors can knit, your kids can read, moms can chat. It's a place in the middle of a park so you can do outdoor reading. As a person who loves books and loves to learn, and also spends $7 at Starbucks 2 or 3 times a week. I don't understand how anyone can say no to an expense of a library in your community. Yeah, it's going to cost a couple more dollars. And so is life. But how much money do we all piss away on nothing, generally? If you look at it that way, if you put your 15 cents in a cup, this is my library, 15 cents daily. At the end of the month, you got it. So I don't understand what the hubbub is, other than I think it's been drawn into the political disasters that are going around lately. And I think this has become a party against another party, and this library got caught in the muck versus it just being a great space for everyone to share. I'm 66. I'm a senior. I'm collecting Social Security. I plan to do the senior stuff, which I get to do now because I get a lot of discounts, which is awesome. And once I get my facelift, I'll still be a senior who just doesn't look her age. So my question to you guys is, what is the worst case scenario in my taxes that could occur within the next 2 years fiscally? If you can answer me that, so that when my neighbor doesn't have an answer, I can knock on her door and say, this is what I found. Thank you.
So there are some mandates, and I'll let others that have more information chime in, but there are mandates by New York State of what the town is required for a chartered library to budget. So there's certain things within Mid-Hudson for us to gain the pathway into the Mid-Hudson library system, in addition to 4,000, 6,000 that we would pay annually for them. We have to show that we have a decent collection, not like Adrian's, but a decent collection, right? There's a certain number of titles that we have to have. So that's definitely going to cost money. We definitely have to have a director. That's going to cost money. But it's per capita. So New York State requires $50 per capita. So it's not like when before we were trying to negotiate just for residents that use our libraries. Mid-Hudson said, no, it's for every resident. So this is the same calculation. So it's $50 times the number of residents, and it's using the 2020 census. So it's 227,900, I believe, that were required to budget. Now, as Jonah said, what we do is, like last year, we're not just spending and spending and spending. We're really trying to plan, and that's where the library fund is going to come in, and make thoughtful purchases. So this is a thoughtful, this is a thoughtful purchase, because we can use this now for our programming, but it can be moved upstairs. We haven't bought big bookcases because we wanted to make sure whatever we chose, we can use upstairs, because we don't want to buy it twice. So that's the baseline number is 227,900 based on that $50 per capita.
Okay, follow-up question.
Yep.
I worked in a lot of different fields in my life, and I know there's plenty of publishers that have great books that they would love to donate to libraries.
Yep.
I know plenty of people who have tons of books that they don't know what to do with. They could donate to libraries. You could get some of your collection that way. Yes?
So I'll speak to that.
Yep.
If there's publishers who are willing to donate and you can put us in touch with them, I would love that. As far as donations, we welcome donations, but I would encourage anyone who's giving donations to really look at them first, because we have a lot of donations upstairs, and frankly, a lot of them we can't use.
But that's your discretion.
Yes.
Yes, but also it creates more work for us
Got it.
if I have to go through,
And
moldy books.
But that can be done in advance of my schlucking.
Yes,
my
exactly.
book.
Exactly. No, I'm gonna read through them anyway. I'm gonna look through them anyway, but people, I would love for people to use their own discretion a little bit before they bring them. Sometimes you get, there was an atlas from still the Soviet Union that somebody donated. So
You don't want
And
my
we have
Nancy
had-
Drew collection. Okay.
We have had
they're
donations.
not dusty and they're on acid-free paper. Right?
We have had donations from Susanna Hill and the authors, because she's an author who have, she's reached out to her friends who are authors. So the majority, if not all, of our children's section has come from donations from authors who have generously not just donated, but also signed and done talks. We've had a donation from Estee Lauder. Their family had books from a deceased relative, and they made a huge donation to us. So we do have that.
Thank you.
I think it's also important to note that from the town board perspective, the money that's been raised for our libraries, there has been no taxes.
Mhm.
They have been done without raising the taxes.
Go again, Hannah, couldn't hear you.
This has been done without having to raise the taxes. The money that's been put towards the library has not raised the town's taxes at all.
I'd like to further add that a lot of the taxes the town receives are not all property taxes. We get a very generous portion of sales tax revenue from the state through the county. We also get mortgage tax money twice a year. When everybody takes out a mortgage, we get some of that. We have a lot of fundraising things that generate income, such as if we get that cell tower approved, that's going to generate money directly for the park, $20,000 to $30,000 a year every year. We get money from the solar farm over on 55. So the town has been for years under the previous administration receiving a lot of additional income, not just from property taxes.
Thank you. Great point. In the back.
Yeah, my question is, if the state is telling you you need to spend, I don't know if you
Budget.
said 250
Not
budget,
spend, just budget. Mhm.
okay, budget, but you need to actually spend it.
So we just have to make sure that the town secures that money for us. So because we are a brand new library, the type of spending that we have and the size that we are we're not at that point. So that is the maximum based on ours. So it's not gonna go higher than 227,000 unless we have a huge influx and the next time the census is done. But
Okay,
keep asking your question because I interrupted.
okay, so, I guess my question is, you keep talking about how you're not spending any money because you're gonna fundraise, but the fundraising is for the construction, correct?
So, yeah, two
It's not
different
for
things.
operating
So we're not spending, any of the money that's budgeted by the town is not for renovations. That
Exactly.
money is not part of taxpayer money. That money is coming from the library fund, which is doing the fundraising for upstairs. So
Right,
two
okay.
different pots of money.
Two different pots of money, you can't dip into one from the other, okay? Two
So
different
once
pots of
the
money.
renovation's done, the library fund would probably turn into a Friends of the Library. And that 501c3 would make,
Okay,
if we needed to buy more computers, we could use Friends of the Library money.
okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yes, it could go
So,
that way.
so of the 220,000 or whatever, how much have you spent on materials?
So I think what Jonah was saying is like, so
Yeah,
some of that is salary, so I would have to
Right.
break it out, but
course.
not very much is a very scientific term. So because we have, the newest thing is the furniture that's in the children's area and that rug and some cushions for the kids to sit on. And the presentation area in the front that's thematic according to the area. Sorry, I can't time myself out. I guess I can't finish your answer. No, just kidding. All of these cases and these tables were donated. So Andrea was wonderful, put us in connection with a business that was going out of business and said, do you want anything? We are very proud recyclers, we'll use that term. And so we took anything that we thought could make work. It doesn't match, but we were like, let's just see what we can make work because we're trying to be fiscally prudent.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay, makes perfect sense. Full disclosure, I'm Carol Fortier. I live in the town.
Okay.
I've lived here for 30 years. I'm also the director of the Beekman Library. Okay, and so I am here because I wanted to hear what was happening with the library with regard to purchasing materials. That's really my big thing.
Yep.
I can tell you that Unionville residents are very interested in museum passes.
Yes.
And they're very interested in the Library of Things. And they're very interested in new materials, new books, ebooks, downloadable audiobooks. So I just, am hoping that that's what will happen.
Yes, so for the ebooks, if they're not seeing it and we can continue to put this out there, so if you have residents coming to your library asking for this, they just need to let us know. So we have our titles in Libby. So we have a finite number right now, so it's not like endless because again, we're trying to be fiscally responsible and see what people are taking. And now that Greg's on board, he's making selections and ideas, but if you're like Greg, because you guys should become good friends, right? Like you help each other out. Hey, Greg, your people, could you get these books? They keep asking me for them. Greg's gonna be like, thank you. And then Greg's gonna order them, and then you're gonna see the burden going down in Beekman, and we're gonna be like usage, which we wanna show to Mid-Hudson going up. So I think like that kind of conversation is so fruitful. I hope you guys get to shake hands before you leave.
Oh, we will.
Keep in mind that the
Nope, that's me. Sorry, Jonah, you can't answer.
the cost of joining the system that I mentioned earlier, we called it 6,000 between the 4 and the 8 that they gave us. That then puts us at the standing that gives us the access to things like the museum passes and other kinds of kits.
No,
So you have to buy those individually.
Right, but you become eligible for things that you were not eligible for as a non-member of the system.
Museum passes are purchased individually by
Yes,
libraries.
yes. So our previous, for 3 iterations ago, director, sorry, I'm not looking at your eyes. Megan had purchased them. The Dia was really popular. We didn't get those back, unfortunately. I don't know if you guys had that problem, and if you have a secret, we'll tell Greg. But we are at the point where I think they ran out at the end of September, and so then we have to renew them. But we're really happy to hear that they were popular, because we were in between, like, did anybody take them out? Didn't they take them out? So that's great to hear. Excellent. Question?
If it passes, yes is the final answer. Would the restrictions in the other towns be lifted? Let's say I'm close to
If
Millbrook and I
we
want
have
to.
a yes and it passes, yes.
Then
And
the
so
Millbrook
the restrictions get lifted once the pathway into Mid-Hudson Library System is completed. So we have to show that to Beekman, to LaGrange, to Millbrook, we're not a burden. That actually you guys aren't a burden as the residents. So you're not a burden. And so one of the things that Rebecca Smith said that she would get for us is data on how much our Unionville residents are taking and utilizing electronic and hard copy resources. Because we want to see that decrease for them and increase for us. So it's a pathway that the Mid-Hudson Library System has put us on, but yes, yes, and yes, yes, vote yes to help us with that
I
pathway.
understand. I understand.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good. More questions? Yes.
Surrounding this library are 4 libraries. Beacon, Millbrook, LaGrange, Pleasant Valley. Something different about what they have, what you have. They have other businesses, they have churches, they have schools, they have big restaurants and stuff that draw people to them. They go by the library to go to credit union or whatever. Unionville is down at the bottom of a big long hill. And what's going to draw people here other than a lot of publicity and stuff? I just don't see that the fact that you're going to get a traffic through here sufficient to justify a totally separate facility.
Yeah, so let's talk about the win-win here. So, and then I'll call on you. So what they don't have, you talked about what they do have. Well, what they don't have is this amazing park. What they don't have is access to these walking trails. What they don't have is fishing. What they don't have is a place for their kids to go swimming while they come here. They don't have any of that, and there's no chance of them getting it because they're in town. So the win-win that I was going to say, and then I'll let you continue, is that if you've gone to the town board meetings, you've heard a little bit about that Brusgill and what are we going to do about that stop sign at the end of Brusgill and 55. Wouldn't it be great if we had so many people coming to this library that the state finally listened to us and said, maybe you do need a roundabout or something here so that you don't have that very dangerous, which I live off the end of Cunningham, or a light, whatever.
Different vote.
A different vote, not that vote, don't vote on that one, but something besides having that tri-section. So I think, to your point, we're never gonna draw anything until we get past this. And then with a director and the excitement of our library fund people and ourselves, I think we will get there. I think the fact that we have libraries that are working with us and saying, go to your own library, they've got great stuff. And the fact that many of our seniors come from different towns, I think that's another way that we're spreading the word about who we are.
We're working with these other libraries, we want to complement each other. So maybe they have a read me with their children on one day and we put it on a different day. We're trying not to do, to conflict with them. And so we can bring, as you're just saying, Amy, we're trying to create a library that is special in its own Unionville way and complement the other libraries in the system.
And so Pat, and then you had a question.
Also,
I can't
also in
remember.
regards to that, the main point of this town is to be rural. That's what we want to keep it. So all those things that you mentioned are not things that we actually want in this town. We don't want big businesses, you know, to run wild in our town. What we did do was we did change the zoning on our 55 section to allow some businesses, smaller businesses allowed in this town, which hopefully will also work in concert with the library to draw traffic here. So while you might say all those towns have other things, that's something that this town is looking for.
Another example of this rural kind of thing is there's a bird watching club and they come to this park. And I spoke to them about doing a bird watching 101 for kids and seniors and others that want to start bird watching. So we can do programs that are more park oriented.
So you had a question?
That wasn't a question, it was kind of like a comment. Okay, I see it a little, building on that, I see it actually as a place for people to come. All those other places that all these other communities have, we don't have, right? We don't have like big churches and these places to go to that people typically gather. But this is someplace that we have the park and the library. So that's how, that's just a different way of looking at it.
Right? You're talking about a library and.
I'm sorry?
You're talking about a library.
Yes.
Not a meeting hall or whatever, right?
Well, I think it's, I think you go to a church, like this church, right?
No,
And I think you go to a church and that's where people come to community, right?
Right.
And I think that's also the library. That's just my personal opinion.
They draw people in and the library is there for this available.
A library can also be a place that draws people.
You also have programs that go on here that can be complemented. For example, let's say kids are playing soccer and maybe a brother or sister wants to come in and read a book. Somebody's at the pool but wants to get out, somebody else wants to get out of the sun, right? So, you know, the programs here we want to have complementary. We really want to be a partner with the parks people and work together. Plus, you know, it's complementing and building a town center. You could say, well, why do we need a playground? Can't you go to that playground? Why do you need a pool? We'll go to that pool. I mean, you could say that about a lot of things, but that's, you know, as a town center, we're so, you know, we really have some opportunity to develop and we have the space. You're in the library. Okay, let's empty it, right? How's that help us? This room is already here. And if we raise it, we should have such a problem. She's going to be talking about fundraising. We should have the problem where she manages to raise, the fund manages to raise $1 million or $2 million or whatever it is dollars to renovate. We'll cross that bridge when it comes. We should have that problem. But right now, this is who we are.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add one, just may add a comment to this, which I think is so interesting. Some of you that have gone to the Unionville Library Fund website may have seen the letters from Ralph Connor talking about, to Don Wisman, about the Timor Park. Now, Ralph Connor and his wife, Jane Webster Connor, were the benefactors and were the people that left the 500 acres to the town of Unionville. And in 1994, what happened was Don Wisman, that supervisor, that for a long period of time, they wanted to put the town hall up on the hill there. And one of the things that Ralph Connor and the benefactor said was that they could put the town hall up there, but they wanted a library in it. And what ended up happening was, you know, they agreed to do that. They agreed to put it on the second floor. So in 1994, to your point, sir, Ralph Connor writes to Don Wisman, I'm very pleased that the court approval has been granted for the location of the Unionville Town Hall within Timor Forest Park at the location adjacent to sports activities and not upbringing the forever wild forest. But this is the second paragraph. Jean Connor, who had passed away by this time, often expressed her hope that the park would create a sense of community for our town. I wish she could have heard the many enthusiastic telephone messages I received in support of this decision. Now, and later on that same year, Ralph Connor was writing him again, and they talked about the recent court decision. At that point, I think they built the town hall, and they ran out of money. They did not fully build out the second floor. So when they did not, and they ran out of money, it's one of those things that you have to, you know, a lot of us people run up against. He said, I suggest by the end of 1995, you move out of the space you're using down here and move into your spot up there. He wanted the park to be back to becoming a park. Your suggestion that the present town hall facilities be utilized as a library, the present town hall facilities were right here, be used as a library once the new town hall is constructed is an excellent idea and one that I heartily endorse. And one of the things that we've always wanted to do is to really recognize that the benefactors wanted, John just mentioned cultural center. They wanted a library and more of a cultural center here. And one of the reasons they gave the 500 acres to all of the residents of Unionville was in hopes that we would get all of that and not have to go to Poughkeepsie or other places. So we also, in a way, are honoring, and I think the benefactors thought that.
So we're gonna take over the town hall then?
Go ahead. Go ahead. But I think the benefactors recognize that this park would be a wonderful community center. So away from other things.
Thank you. We have you and then you as well. You have a question?
So the seniors can still use this space, even if the library is, so. And then there will be programs that could be for seniors and
In
not just for
addition
kids.
to what they do on Friday where they play cards. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. There could always
Okay,
be more.
so that was just a clarification.
I was lying about what my dad does. I'm sorry.
The library of things, I think that that's very cool. And will you take donations from people? Like if something is in good condition?
Oh, yes.
So like if someone wants to downsize and clean stuff out of a.
If you were to happen to be.
If you happen to have a rototiller and it's functional and we were looking to move it out.
Lend it to someone.
Right,
Yeah, that would be great.
So you would take. Okay. yeah.
For example, Cornell, the farm group there, Cornell Cooperative, they've helped set up seed libraries. So farmers that grow plants always have leftover tomato seeds, yada, yada, right? So they help towns to develop seed programs in their own town.
Non-GMO, I hope.
Yes.
Can they teach you not to kill them?
It's a separate class we're gonna run here.
Okay.
I am Leah Strazzeri. I've lived here for over 50 years. And Betsy, you might have an answer to this question. When the park was donated, there were restrictions on that donation. That the park was used for residents. It was open to Unionville town residents. The library being a public library, how would that commingle? How does that work?
So when the library, it was left to the town of Unionville and their guests. And what makes Unionville a little bit unique in that regard is that, and then Don Wisman was behind it, everybody got behind this, and Ralph Connor agreed, they were never going to entirely fence in the entire 500-acre park, just so that we could keep outsiders out. And they never wanted to have a booth at the entranceway so that a constable or somebody was checking IDs to make sure you actually lived here. What they decided way back then was the nicer way to be was a good community spirit. A lot of other people come to this park. A lot of people come to go for hikes. They have to pay for a guest pass for the pool. They come to our events. They help us. Our recreation department collects revenue from that they can redistribute into the town positively. So I think at some point it became apparent to everybody that guests is a loose term. Our friends in Millbrook and Beekman and all around, they come here all the time. And their term is, yes, it's for the town of Unionville residents and their guests. And they kind of leave that as an open word. It's a friendlier way to be, less cost, less expensive. They're not going to put a fortress around it. It's always worked. And so nobody's said a thing. And I think with Unionville, with libraries, the same thing would prevail.
Yeah, and I think that goes towards, like Betsy said, the event. Oktoberfest isn't only for Unionville residents, but they come here to the park. The senior center isn't only for Unionville residents, but they come here. A lot of people outside of Unionville use Highmark Park and its events and its things like the senior center. So I mean, I understand that's what it was, but I think it's evolved into so much more than that. We wouldn't want to waste this 500 acres. Not saying waste it, it's only the residents using it, but we wouldn't want to not let this be something for everybody to use.
Does the original town documents where the park is donated to the town have a provision that says that the proprietary use of the park is for the town of Unionville residents? It's my understanding that the town park, Unionville, was originally for Unionville residents. And over time, other families, other people, guests wanted to come. And town of Unionville now has resident fee right? It's a less expensive fee to buy a swimming pool pass or use our town garbage
Yeah,
dump.
all
Right,
towns do
and-
that, yes.
And and non-residents have a different fee.
Correct, all towns do that.
So the public library is a public library. It's not a guest. It's open to the public.
Well,
It's not you or me or you saying, hey, my cousins are in town. You guys head on over. Oh, hey, welcome. You know, why don't you head over there?
So can I ask you a question about your
a
concern? Are you
Yeah,
asking this question because?
distinction
Right.
between guest
Are
and
you,
But
public.
what's
are you
the
asking this
downside?
question because you're concerned about a legality? Or are you asking this question because you're afraid our library is going to be overrun with people that aren't from this community? Where are you coming from on that
What's
question?
your,
I'm
what's the
curious to know
downside?
the logistics of it.
Okay, because I think from a logistics standpoint, not a legal standpoint, the reality is people that are looking for a library are just as apt to end up at these more visible libraries than are at our library. But from a legal standpoint, I don't think any of us are lawyers. But if it's a legal question, that should go to a lawyer. Really should go to a
But
lawyer.
Leah, can I just ask you, I don't understand what's the point of the question? What's your end game? What are you really asking?
If the original town documents are that it's for Unionville and it's morphed to Unionville guest, then I could certainly see an issue with having a public entity in our park.
Tell me why.
The park is public.
Yeah, tell me why.
You
I
take
don't
the
understand.
exact
State law
same,
oversees that parkland is open to everybody.
So the library would fall under that
Yes.
as governance. So
Yes.
that's where I'm asking
Yes.
my question, right?
State
How
would
does that
override any rule we
logistically
have.
work?
But for what
So,
reason?
so that's not an issue then for Mid Hudson Library, right? For us to be part of that system.
No, would not be an issue.
But I
And the fact
figured
the
you
truth
would
is,
know.
the way that, it's a 500-acre park. We have people in Beekman that live along the southern line.
Right.
They are in the park every day.
Right.
We wouldn't dream of keeping them out, right? They live
Yeah.
right there. Their houses are on the
Right.
line. So, first of all, we can't maintain this park. We can't run a recreation department without outside help. If those people don't show up, outsiders, we tried to run things just exclusively. We're not East Fishkill. They can keep other people out because they have so many. We are always undersubscribed because we have 4,558 people.
Right.
So to maintain the park, to make our program successful, Oktoberfest and all these other, make them fun and successful, we need outsiders to come and help us support it.
So then
Financially, we need their
there's no
support.
conflict.
There's no
And it
conflict.
falls under public park
And
land.
it's a way of
Yeah, I
being
mean,
a good neighbor as well.
our camps aren't only for our residents.
Right, they have resident fees and non-resident
Exactly.
fees, I totally get that part. Again, just the logistics of how does it all work together?
It all works fine.
It works nicely, and we try to give a benefit to the residents to encourage more of them to sign up for things like camp and stuff. They get, cheaper rate.
And then the programs that the library is going to offer, like reading or bird watching, which happens now without a library, right? And not to
But
be,
it's not a library program like a 101.
how does that differ from the programs that the rec do? How is that exclusive to the library? Because we have a rec department that, has TGIF and they do games and they host different events. How would the library do that with our rec department already doing a lot of that?
Well, that's where I think the team effort comes in. That's where we want to get, Greg wants to become much more engaged. He just started, wants to become much more engaged with the seniors, with the parks people, but even with the equestrian. I mean, could we have books and things that are educational from an equestrian standpoint, right? So we have to, now that we just got our charter, right, July, we just got to finally have a librarian with a charter.
I haven't even gotten a chance to put the books in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Dewey Decimal System?
no, they're not even, some of them aren't
I
even.
want a card catalog. I have,
Can I, before you, Erna had her hand up, and then we have someone over here that had her hand up, and then we'll come back to you. Erna?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I hear all this stuff about kids and adults, and I don't hear what the plans are for the seniors. I've heard two things already. One, you said that you're gonna be here 3 years. I thought it was 2. And, the thing of it is, I just want to let you guys know, we are not against you as for the library. We are fine. You want a library? I live in Beekman. I have a library, but I want to hear what you're doing, you're taking over this room. This is a shared room. There were meetings, and yeah, Amy, you were right. All we can do right now is eat and play games because there's no room for nothing else. And every Friday we come here, wait a minute, my turn. Every Friday we come here and there's more room taken. You mentioned you're gonna bring in more books. Where are you gonna put them? You know, our concern is one, safety. You came in here, you put all these bookcases around here, and you put one right over there. I slipped and I fell, and I have 45 stitches in my face. My friend Lori on Friday, because of that carpet over there, almost fell. And she'd have wound up with an ambulance in a hospital. Our concern is you're taking over the only space in this park that's safe for us. That's our concern, and that's why we're here.
So I want you to look at the room.
But no, look at the room. When you put your chairs back and you put your computers against the wall.
No, this is a very serious concerns, and this is exactly what I wanted to hear from you. You know, you just said a minute ago, well, what's for the seniors? This is what I want to hear from you. I want to know what can we do to make this space better? Now, you mentioned safety, first of all, okay? I did not put these bookcases here.
Right. I'm not saying you did.
And you're talking about space. Tell me quite honestly, okay? Because this is something, I'm not here on Fridays. I want to leave the space seniors until I get a chance to make a more proper introduction. Okay. How many seniors show up on a Friday?
Well, let me tell you something about the seniors.
No, just
wait a minute. You know, you're talking right now. When we all started this a year ago, we had 8 members. We have 30 now. Okay, we don't all show up on Friday. Do you know why? Because we're seniors, because we have doctor's appointments. We have to take care of our grandchildren. We can't all be here every week and be the 30 of us. But that doesn't mean that you have to cut down on our space because we are not here.
But there's on a normal day, there's 40 seats in here. And yet.
But we can't do anything else, Greg. You've taken the space away where we want to do a chair yoga. We can't do it. We want to do different kinds of clubs. We want lectures. You've limited our seating arrangements here that we can't do all this. I was even told that I shouldn't ask for more members.
Well,
I mean, it was no, you didn't say that. This is a shared room, and you just came in and took off half of the room over.
Can I ask you, when after you came to the town board meeting, did you sit and talk to the library after that?
Did I what?
Did you guys sit and talk to the library after the town board meeting?
What librarian?
Did you talk to them after you came to us at the town board?
No.
Oh, so you haven't talked to them yet?
No.
No, I think there's a meeting set up for this Friday, if I'm correct, at 4 o'clock. That's what I've been trying to keep up with. I'm not at it because I'm at work. Craig, do you have, is it?
Tentatively, it was scheduled for this Friday.
Okay.
But Jean told me she didn't want to do it until after the vote.
Okay.
But we're sharing.
We're not gonna resolve your concern on it tonight.
Right.
It's a valid concern.
But I think
So we're gonna
we
meet,
have a
and
separate.
you can all of you have heard what you've heard about our desire to work with the seniors. You can be the judge, right? You can look at this room. Now ordinarily, it's a whole bunch of tables for way more than 12 people, but so you can be the judge, but we're gonna meet with you, and by all means.
Yeah.
I mean, this gentleman has expressed a strong desire to make you happy.
And in fairness, before, I'm gonna go to you because I know you had your hand up. Erna, when we first started with this, when Megan left and Alex was here, one of the conversations you and I had, and this is, I'll totally die on this hill because I didn't understand you properly, was that not to touch this side of the room is what you asked. You said, put your stuff over here, but don't touch this side of the room.
Yeah, but you also had the conversation with Steve, and he told you the same thing, that that's your half and this is our half.
Yeah.
But you've taken it over. You've
But we haven't
increased
done
on
anything
it.
on this side except for hang that board.
So
So
you have the chairs and the table
table,
there.
a coffee machine.
The coffee machine, the shredder, the printer, all that stuff. And now you're talking more books.
Where are you gonna put them?
I can fit a lot of books over there. That space is not.
You
not-
asked the numbers. I'm the secretary of the club. This Friday, we had 20 people that showed up, and we were supposed to have 25, but 5 people could not show up because of illnesses. So we do have, we do have attendance, and people don't show. But my main concern is safety. I mean, you have the coat rack that's sitting right in front of the door, and we have people that are coming in with walkers, the oxygen. It's not safe anymore. And you've taken over more than half the room. And if we wanna have like a Christmas party or something, there's no room. If we want, we had a luncheon the other day, and we had to move some of our belongings so that they could put the food out on the table, so that, there was some place that people could walk around to eat. It was very, very tight, and I'm worried about safety.
Yeah, and if I can add one thing, I just want to say, Erna has done this fabulous job, because I remember, and I think you're exaggerating with the 8, they got down to 4 people. And Erna worked very hard at the Stop and Shop every time she went, recruiting the older ladies with the white hair to come to join the seniors.
I do all my
She did a
work
fabulous
at the
job.
Stop and
But
Shop. You got gray hair, you live in Unionville, you belong to me.
But the one suggestion I have is, I hate to hear this, because everybody was so happy and you were doing such a good job of getting your numbers up. And I think that being able to cohabitate is really important. However, this is a very impressive, former dairy barn, complex that we have here. And there's a long barn right next door. And at the end of it, there's this absolutely fabulous space with, you could put sofas in and do all kinds of things, and park right next to the exit door. I'm just saying, just keep your options open, walk around and take a look. And I am sure, if you guys you use it on Fridays, if you wanted another space and wanted to make it home because you felt it, I'm sure the town board, I would guess that they will help you get there.
We don't
Make it so that it's happy for everybody.
Does that space have restrooms, a kitchen? With an
Well,
oven?
Well, I think we should look at it and
Yeah,
see.
because
Most of them do. Yeah, we got a lot of
we
space
do
here.
use the kitchen, we use the oven.
I know,
we use the refrigerator,
You just need a place to dance.
That is down.
That's it.
The same thing, we need someplace to.
If there were all
But
these
you should walk around.
spaces, why didn't the
Walk
library
around,
go to
or
another
when you
great
feel
space
it.
for
Walk around and look.
displacement?
But I can walk better without my friend here, yeah.
Just sit on it.
I just have a question.
Gotta put a motor on it.
This has always been the senior center since 1944. 80 years.
Yeah,
it's
but
always
this
been
has
a
been
senior
here.
center, and now you want us
Mary Ann, excuse me,
move it.
it's been here since 1966 that we've been members, and I have papers where there were three sheets of people here, but it was a different time. Here, at this time, we got women that are my age working. We got women my age that are babysitting their kids. So there aren't that many of us out there like there was when my mom retired. But all you people that are sitting right there, one day, you're gonna need a senior club, because you know what's gonna happen? Amy's children is gonna move away. Unfortunately, you say maybe her husband will pass away and she'll be all by herself, and she'll look for a group like that. Goes for all ears. I'm not just, I'm just picking out. I know your family well. Her father comes to our club.
I think, I think, as you can tell, nobody here is here to fight and argue, right? We all just want to work together. So I think what's most important is for the seniors to set up that meeting with the library. I think the library is more than willing to work with the seniors to make this space good for both of
But
you.
why didn't you work upstairs? I mean, it's been 6 years. Why haven't you done anything up there? Huh?
Well, so the answer to that question is we couldn't, we have to be chartered, right? So
Right.
there's a process. So we've got that now. No one's gonna donate money to anything that is just in your imagination, right? So we had to show our due diligence. The town board appointed us, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna talk about the fundraiser. Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
as far as the town board, no, the authorization took place, I think in 2021, early 22.
Yep.
The end of 21, and then we were waiting for the charter, and the trustees became fully engaged. It takes a long time to get chartered. You guys, thank you for all your hard work. You got the library chartered, And it's been off to the races since then. So now you are an official library.
We are.
Now you're in charge of your own destiny, so to speak, with everybody hopefully helping you. So, but I'll talk about fundraising when you're ready.
Ultimately, that is the goal, right? Ultimately, the goal is to go upstairs. So that's the plan.
Why didn't you go across the street?
So that's a question for the town, because we
Like-
didn't decide. So the town appointed, interviewed and appointed that, but you guys had decided, not you guys, but the town board collectively decided on the space. I don't know what went into the decision of choosing that.
It was
Is
not
that
the
question-
library's choice.
So why did we opt to put the library where our senior center is if we have all these other spaces available, these other barns?
Good question.
Why did we displace them?
Well, we.
Because they don't like us.
Oh, Lord, we love Lord. No, we ended up, I believe.
But we have 3 town people here, right? We have Mr. Cardinelli and Mr. Walsh and
Mr. Derland.
Derland. I was this close. Right? I mean, how did you guys come up with that?
I wasn't there.
Before his time.
I think, we kind of thought this was a perfect space. The seniors in
Probably
theory.
because of upstairs.
Yeah, and we knew our goal is to be right upstairs. So being
It's
downstairs
like-
is easy just to go upstairs, but
But this space was senior space,
Why
and
don't
Ms.
they
Moss just said there's
take
other
the
long.
so the senior
walls.
space in theory is only used on Fridays. And when we thought about the library, we thought that the library would be complementary to what the seniors do. Everybody's expressing interest in working
There's a lot of
together.
synergies, yeah.
And there's a lot, like John says, a lot of synergies where the programs that the library is intending on running are in part to benefit all the seniors. And if the seniors are using it one day a week and the library's here, they can now use it every day.
Would it be possible for the library to go in this
I
other?
mean, we can put
long
it anywhere, but it works. It makes sense to have it here. All the facilities are here.
Why?
The seniors only use this one day a week. And now we're trying to turn it into a space where they can use it every day with programs, with more than, maybe what they have now. The library can expand on what they have the ability to do.
But it's not safe to use it once a week.
Well, we can address that. Greg just said he's willing to address that. So the meeting hasn't happened, so we can't keep talking.
I mean, the last thing I want to hear is anybody getting hurt. I mean, this is not, I'm not out here tripping people.
So I have a bunch of hands up. Paula was a while ago and I didn't get back to you. So Paula, you had your hand up, you both had your hand up. So let's start with Paula.
All right, so I totally hear you. I have an artificial knee, an artificial hip. I walk with a lot of problems. And I totally,
Bionic.
Yeah, there I am. There are parts that are not, unfortunately, but so I hear everything she's saying. And I love that you dangled a lovely potential long space with couches. So that's a lovely dangle, but how quick does that happen? Because dangles are baloney. If it's a dangle and then I die before it even comes to. No, that's number one.
What if
And
I can get furniture in here? What if I can get couches in here?
Well,
What if I can make things more comfortable for you here? Would you like that? Would that be,
Well, that's my first part. My second part is everything,
More space.
everything can be moved. Everything can be moved. That's the thing. You can move. I have a tiny restaurant. We move stuff around to have a lecture, to have a dinner, to have music. So everything can get moved. It's just that I think the meeting on Friday, before this continues to be beaten of a dead horse because we don't know. And to the gentleman in the back, you saw Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Ultimately, there was nothing anywhere until someone said, hey, I want to just build a pizza stand. Oh, look, it's Luigi's pizza stand. Everyone goes. You have something, people come to it. You have nothing, people drive past it.
But how are the people that are handicapped gonna get here?
Well, the people that are handicapped get here now on Friday, right?
Well, most of it,
And
I'm
that's-
talking handicapped. I
But
mean,
you're-
the children, the adults who have to come by bus. Will you have a bus?
Well, maybe once it's here, then that opens up that door because you have a need, so you have to fill that need. But you can't fill the need, like she said. Nobody's going to give her $1 million until she has a charter. So there's an order to stuff.
There's a line out the door to check out a book. You've been patient.
Okay, I'm Lenita. You don't know me. I haven't met you before, but I've been in this town for I don't remember how long. But anyway, my point is, handicapped people, if we have voters coming in here who are handicapped, we have to make provisions for them. There's no way you can keep them out. So that is an issue which we address all the time, every year when we have elections, we're gonna do it again. So my point to the whole thing is, okay, library or not, either way, you can move stuff around, you can make it the way you want it, but there has to be a dialogue that says what you want.
Right.
I mean, I've been here, like I said, I'm gonna be 78 in a week. I've never
Happy
been to the
birthday.
senior citizen thingy.
please
It's not
come
my cup of tea. I can read
right,
heights,
you got
I can
another
do
one.
other stuff, and I can, go out and do programs for kids like that, but it's different. So everybody has a different thing and a different need, and if we decide this is the way to go forward, then we need to have a dialogue about how to rearrange furniture.
Exactly.
And I've been to libraries like in Arizona and all, where they have big stuff, big buildings, and they find a way for people to get in. You can drive up and pick up books. You can do whatever you want to, but until you get a start and start making some decisions and a move, nothing's gonna happen.
That's right.
So, yes, Chuck.
Okay.
Oh, and then I'm sorry.
So from what I understand from the money, is it's gonna cost us, you guys are spending roughly $60,000 a year versus the Mid-Hudson Library Association $100,000 a year. You have to budget up to $50 a person, which is $220, doesn't mean you have to spend it. This presentation, is that gonna be up on the website, the link for people to take a look at? And then my third question is, can you go back one slide? Are those things available from home, or do you have to come in to use them?
Yeah, those things are available. All these things here are available.
From
From
your
home.
device, actually,
From
you
your
could be in
device, yeah.
California and go
And
to
I
our
can- and I
website,
can
as long as
ride
you
it.
have your library card.
Library card, right?
Wow, that's
That's
great.
one of the
Yeah.
expenses
Okay.
that we incur, is to give you access to these resources.
Okay, and I can do that from home.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be sitting down at the pool and use this.
Come in to see Greg.
Okay,
He'll get you your library card.
I did have a library.
okay,
Help you to log in on your phone and then.
No. You did.
Okay. And then second off, let's get this up online. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Chuck. You two have been very patient.
Yeah. I have a long sense of We're supposed to be meeting this Friday.
Is that, okay, good.
I would like all our officers to be there, not just me.
Okay, yeah.
We all have different opinions.
Okay, I don't know who was on the email chain. I just knew I couldn't be there. Okay.
And we all have our own input. I've been here, living in this area for over 39.5 years. And at that time, forgive me if I'm wrong, I thought the Beekman Library was behind Greenhaven Prison. They moved out because it was too small or whatever reason. Why didn't Unionvale and Beekman come together at that point and make a co-way library? And you have abolished all these extra fees.
Well, the
And you
Union,
took
as far as I know from history, a lot of Unionville residents donated to Beekman Library and helped it get built. And in turn, Beekman Library restricted us.
Why do they?
Politics.
Have the same address.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of Unionville residents helped
I
build
don't
that
know,
library.
Gene. That's a great question. But it's, we're not gonna get back to that back in time to fast forward. So we are where we are. Right.
Wants to add on.
That's just one
thing about, I don't know, for whatever
Well,
reason.
and Beekman is here. It's not a Beekman library, but they can talk about why they want to add on to their library. Is there what?
People don't have a right place to go.
For here. Yeah, I know, that's what we wanna do, so part of having a library, and this is part of having someone with a library degree being part of us, is that we have movable furniture so that if there was a fundraiser that we wanted to do, that the furniture can move, and then we have a space where you can set up tables and do like something like that. So it's a dual purpose meeting space. So not movable furniture like this, but solid.
Right. Private parties. I can't see having a celebration here in between the books.
Not like this, no, definitely not. But this was temporary, and as Rona said, like we said, this was temporary. Just do this for temporary until you kind of figure out, get chartered, and then figure out what
Jamie,
you're
what's
doing.
your definition of temporary?
You're gonna die soon.
No, you're gonna be with us. So I think like it depends what you're talking about. So now that we have a director, I think we're gonna meet with you guys. We've tried before, it didn't work. Now I feel like there's some really great cohesiveness happening, that you're gonna schedule the library meeting to figure it out with a director, not necessarily the trustees, although several of the trustees will be there, so that this whole space
5 days, 6 days a week that Greg's here is available to the seniors and other residents. While you still have your special day where no one else is coming in, there's other things you could do. So you can schedule and work with Greg on chair yoga or other programs. Those are
We
all
have
programs
resources
that
you
we
don't
can
have that we can help you with. And what should not be underestimated is New York State loves libraries. There are
There's grants for everything.
funding and grants, ADA needs. There's all sorts of things we can do with this as a library that you couldn't have done as seniors in a senior center in a town. So we can look, like, for example, we want to press the door and have an appropriate kind of entrance, et cetera, maybe restroom changes. Otherwise, we as a library have the option to go to resources, and we should go to that'll make you happy and the rest of the town.
So I'm gonna just go, okay.
Okay, wouldn't it be more cost effective to take whatever this building is that you were suggesting for us, fix it up for your library? You wouldn't have a second floor, you wouldn't have the expense of an elevator, you wouldn't have a really expensive maintenance contract for the elevator. And they could have it there, we could have this could be rented out for all your parties, you don't have to move anything. And everyone would be happy.
So again, I'm gonna say town board, just because they chose this space, not making you guys good guys or bad guys, just because you guys, it's your space. We can't say where we are. We have a lease for this space for 99 years. So the town gave us a lease for this building for 99 years.
Did they vote on this lease? Did the
The
town
board
people?
approved it, yes.
Not the town board. Was it brought up to the individual
No, that's not how
people
it's done.
in
You
the
guys do
town
your
to
town
vote
law.
if they wanted a 99-year lease?
No.
That's like Beekman with Comcast. No, they're exclusive.
I think that what the goal is ultimately, what we've discussed here multiple times, is the library wants to work with the seniors. Okay, they want to return your space to the way that you guys need it for it to be safe and to be used by you. I think if we keep continuing down this rabbit hole, we're really not accomplishing anything other than you guys sitting and talking to them on Friday. That's where we're going to actually have some traction and get some things done. So I think everybody understands your concerns and everybody agrees with your concerns. Not one person has diminished your concerns that you've had here tonight. And we didn't diminish them at the town board either. We understand, which is why we pushed you to push this meeting with the library, so they can return this space to you. So they're not even open on Friday. So if they can move things around, make this space for you, and we hope you get to 60, 70. That's what we hope. So you have a bigger issue, right? Where you need more space. That's what we hope for. The ultimate goal is to get the library upstairs and completely out of your way. The best way to do that, help fundraise.
Go ahead. You've been very patient. And you're losing your rodent killer,
To me, it seemed practical. A very important issue is you have an election coming up.
Yes.
And you are trying to encourage people to express their strong opinion one way or the other.
Sure.
And while all of these discussions seem very productive, I'd like to know how you're going to help me reach my neighbor across the street who's got 3 young children and be able to say in a short summary, this is why you should think about voting on the library. Right? Because he's listening to my neighbor on the other side who's opposed. And while I can go over and explain things to him, it's much easier if you can give me a resource that says, here, read this. It will take you 2 minutes. I mean, he's not likely to want to go to the Unionville Library website and search. So my question is, how are you going to help me get my neighbor interested and informed?
So one of the things that we talked about, because I'm not into politics, not on the town board, but I am aware that you can't put things in mailboxes, but you can hang things on mailboxes. So that is something that we have talked about, some informational like how-tos, what do you need to know, which we have this. We do have the Unionville mail. So we will be sending out an additional Unionville mail with the highlights from tonight, because if they're checking their email, that's another way, right? You never want to try one way because you're always going to miss the mark. So we have the Unionville mail. We do have our website. We're going to try to get the flyers out. We're trying to, again, be cost effective. and make sure we do it so that we don't violate any postal service, rules or regulations.
I'll swing by and see him, just to see if he wants to, if he wants to.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Pour
this.
me a cup of coffee, I'll come over, I don't drink coffee, he can drink coffee, and I'll have a talk with him, and if Greg's available, he'll come with me, and we'll go over and see him,
Yes,
if he wants.
well, he might not want a door knocker. Oh, boy, now we have, here,
Yes, so I think what Dennis is trying to
Mhm.
explain.
he wants to
is that
help.
He wants, so Dennis wants some bullet points.
Yep.
Right now, prior
Oh,
to
right
this vote,
now.
on a positive reason why, and that he can convey to other people exactly how everybody sees it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say everybody's different, but you mentioned that he has 3 children. How old are they? School age or?
Third grade, fourth
Oh.
grade.
I mean, to me, that's an easy sell. You know, it's just, but.
I understand.
We're not telling him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, the people who are here tonight are passionate and they're interested in learning about the library.
So they can be our.
But there's a separate
pollinators.
issue, which is trying to engage people who may not be interested. And I don't want to call them disinterested, but it's like any election. You've got people feel very strongly one way or the other, and then you got a bunch of
That's
people
why we
in the middle
organize this
who are
thing.
likely to have a great influence in the actual voting. And so I'm, sort of prompting you saying, help me.
Yes.
And how are we gonna do
No, I
that?
appreciate that.
Other than my calling and saying, hey, Terrell,
Can you do it? Okay, while you guys are all thinking about good answers, Carol?
I just have a quick question. You're talking about people voting yes, people voting no. This isn't a binding
No, it's not.
proposition. I mean, if everybody
It's
votes
an
no.
opinion, right? It's at best a survey.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's a survey.
It's a survey.
So it depends on the town board, and I noticed that the whole town board's not here, so depends on the town board. Yeah. Same as it always has.
Why not go door to door like those that want to vote no did, as I've heard in the grapevine? Go get some of those yesers to get out there and vote and talk to the people, just like the knowers did.
Well, that's our sign.
Yes.
Why
So
not
what-
do a
so there's
video presentation that's 3 minutes long?
Hmm?
Get whoever your most effective speaker, get up there and say, here's why. And then you get that on every site that people do, including your Facebook site and your Instagram and anything in town. That seems to be the best one. Get your most effective, put some bright colors, and that's the way to do it.
And this is recorded, this session's recorded so that we can, those that weren't able to be here can listen to the information, so that's another way. But as far as bullet points, I think it is personal to what demographic you're in, how long you've lived here, what are your personal needs. Senior needs are not gonna be the same needs as a new mom needs, so I think it really is holistic about the community. So why we became part of trustees and a director is because we believed in our community and that our community deserved to have a gathering space and a space that we could develop together. So that's my bullet point, that we don't have an agenda. We just wanted a space. When I moved here, Erna, you might remember this, the 4 seniors have heard me say it a million times because they deal with my dad every Friday, mostly, because he does get sick and does have relatives come. But it's because I called the former supervisor and I said, what are you doing for seniors? Like, my dad lives with me. My mom passed away. My dad lives with me. He deserves to have a connection to this community. What am I doing for an 88-year-old man that just got planted into this community? He deserves to be connected, right? There's a senior group. You should have him go to the senior group. So, like a little kid, right? I pack up my dad, he gets his lunch, and I say, this is where you're going. You don't have a choice, go. And you gotta love him. I do, because he's mine. He does what he's told. He comes here, maybe not for you, Werner. Sorry. Maybe not for you. He does, like, if you give him a job, no, he makes his coffee here, he has roles, but it's a place for him to have community. The senior center gave my dad friends. Maybe not friends he's gonna call on the phone because he can't hear them. But maybe just so that he has a place to go play cards. It's easy for him. I want that. I need that for my dad.
Amy,
So
that's
as
what
much
we're
as I want
fighting
it for
That's
me,
all we're fighting for.
that's what I want
That's
though,
it.
Ernest. So that's why I wanted to be part of this.
We're,
It's
I'm
because
not,
of that.
we're not your enemy. I'm not trying to work against you. I'm
We're
really
not
not.
saying, none of us here will say you're
We
our
just have to
No,
find,
but-
and I feel like the senior meeting where it's all of you together really come up with a plan. It's not about, we don't want this as much as what do we want, right? Like, it's like, what do we want it to look like?
Can I just bring in one point before everybody's too exhausted once again?
Yes.
It would help all of us if we stopped putting up roadblocks for the library, because it has impeded our fundraising.
And I, their space.
And I'm not talking about the seniors, I'm talking about political, everything, every roadblock that's been put in, even trying to get the charter as a roadblock, because it's very difficult. So my point is that we're at the beginning of the early stages of something that could be customized for a lot of different groups and could be really unique and special, given that we're in a park and nobody else is. We have a lot of opportunities here. We are the last town in Dutchess County without a library. We're it, the last one. And they all have libraries because a lot of special benefits come to those libraries. All right, and the state passes down a lot of free stuff our residents don't get. And we notice our census numbers. We know we have a larger number of seniors. We know we have a lot of young families that moved in. We want to cater to all those groups. We know we have teenagers that hang out in the parking lot. So we came up with the cyber cafe up there. But we talked, remember, Erna, the conversation about the bookmobile that could also be the van that could pick up seniors in the winter the minute they didn't want to drive here anymore. That's extra fundraising. That's on the fundraising list. But I have to tell you, Peter Krulwich is the president of the Unionville Library Fund. All right, I'm the vice president. I work closely with Peter. Perry's in the back of the room. Perry Gussikoff's going to be in charge of the whole construction plan and how all that's going to work. We have other members. John is the liaison. John Welsh is liaison to the town board. We have Chris Spitzmiller and Gene Pfeiffer, who's a renowned architect. We have a lot of interesting people that are participating in this fund. And every time they get started to raise money, guess what happens? Somebody says, yeah, but the new supervisor's against it. Oh, but it's going to be a referendum. Oh, but we're going to have this, and oh, we're going to have that, and oh, this and oh, that. Stop. Let's not do that anymore. If we hurry up and work together and just say, we're already chartered, we have this great opportunity. Can we please raise some money and tell everybody, go give $10 to the library fund? The sooner and the more you spread that word, Erna, the quicker they're out of your head, the quicker they're upstairs. And I think if we work together to raise that money, we've had a lot of some good pledges from people, very interested people. You notice that the big dollars came from the DeForest family. I don't know if you got that email, but the DeForest have given us $20,000. Most people are giving us pledges, which without cash in the bank, we'll get there. But if you could help us, if everybody could work together to make it, you want to make it be a specialty place to learn all about horses, Leah? Tell people, hey, go help my library out because I want some customized information for horses and for my kids, whatever you want.
Find
But
your
we need your
501c registered with the IRS.
Well, we'll help you help on it later. But my point is to all of you is if you could just help out, maybe you need library research help.
Yeah,
There you
right
go.
here.
I have a library card.
Hey, Betsy, Greg will help you. I'm just saying we need your help to speed up the process. So if you would be positive and support it, it would be great.
Hey, Beth, you'd be surprised how many people do not know about Time Out Park. You know,
That's true too.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of
I
time.
was saying I grew up there. I like it this way.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. I had been fortunate of spending a lot of time lately in hospitals and nursing homes. And the first question I ask is, you know what Time Out Park is? Do you know what that park has to offer? I mean, I live around the corner. I live that close. And my daughter, she walks this park every day. And I love this park. And I'd say, bring your kids, bring your family, have the seniors come. But then, unfortunately, they look around and they go, we don't want to go in that room. It's not a nice room.
So Erna,
You
I'm
know?
going to ask you, I just think that you need to have a conversation with them. And part of the benefit to the seniors, and I recall from our first discussion, one of the reasons we picked this space and we want to put the library upstairs is the money that we raise. Guess what? It's gonna redo this whole ceiling. The money that is raised to fix the library has to come all the way down these walls and impact this room. And we had a big session about this. We had a community session and we discussed it. So take your complaints, and you have valid complaints. Talk to Greg, deal with them on it. But while you're getting your stuff straightened out, if you could pass word on that, hey, hurry up and help them get funded, because construction starts the sooner we have the money, and it comes right down to fix your ceiling, to fix the walls, give you new floors and everything. You're gonna benefit a lot in the future, but we need your help to hurry.
Okay, question right there. Future. Betsy, do you know how old I am? On my next birthday, I'll be 85.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're 29 this year. You're 29.
No, I'm 84 this year and 85 next, and you always mention the word temporary. Well, folks, the only person here that's temporary is me.
Well,
We're all temporary, but I'm closer to that.
The library we have now.
Now.
I didn't talk about temporary. I talk about this room. I mean, I think before this happened, see the two posts right over there? Okay, the table wasn't here, the kids area wasn't here, the copier wasn't here.
That's right.
I mean, that's right. This room was empty over there. Okay, and so we did change the space, but we think having a copier is not a bad thing. Having a pencil sharpener is not a bad thing. Having a place for kids to read a book is not a bad thing. But what we'll do, and I think everybody wants to go home at this point, is you're gonna meet with Greg and your group. Let us know about your safety concerns. Let us know what are the things you can do. And can I simply ask you as we end the meeting, can we try to work together? Can we at least try to work together?
Yes.
And we are squaring the age pyramid in this country, guys. It used to be that it was a lot of very few old people and lots of young people, but it's not. My generation, the boomers, we are taking over. We are becoming older and quicker. People are having less kids. So we're going to have a senior center and a library that maybe helps seniors.
Right. I want to hear you answer the question. Can we try to work together?
I see no reason why not.
How about you?
I said yes.
Yeah, she was the first one.
Okay, and you said yes.
It's recorded too.
Okay, so then.
Wait, hold on,
Yeah.
Dennis. I want to answer Dennis' question real quick. So I have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. All right, and they came here for a story time one day. They had the best time. They enjoyed it. They got a book afterwards. They loved every second of it. So I guess that's one of the things that you can tell your neighbor. Is that there are programs that the library currently does have that kids enjoy and love. So.
And study
Is
time.
there a way of involving seniors in reading?
That would be amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
I would love that.
And it was well.
He's brand new, so we'll talk to Greg.
Yeah. Okay, so is there anyone that didn't have, yes,
So, hi, Josh Render, I've lived here for about 10 years in Unionville. So I agree completely in spirit with the library, but I see a lot of no signs around a lot of my neighbors, and none of them dislike libraries. Their concern is tax implications, and their concern is that it's a Pandora's box and that they don't know what the potential tax raise increases may be. So I think that something needs to be done to alleviate people's concerns about this, because it hasn't been clear at all what this is going to cost. And I was pretty surprised that this didn't come up, earlier, because that's why people are against it. So it's probably more for the town board.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that at town board meetings, everybody comes in and starts throwing around numbers, right? That's what they do, especially the people that are against the library. 2, 3, 4 million. It's going to cost $300,000, $10,000. They just throw out random numbers on no fact whatsoever. The only tax implications that it has right now is the $227,000. That's it. Nothing else.
And what does that mean to?
It was no tax increase for anybody in the town of Unionville.
The full budget is fully funded this year, no tax increase. We haven't had a tax increase in 7 years. And we can afford the library. There was no tax increase. Now, other towns, you could talk to the trustees and say, would you commit to holding that number at that level for X number of years? And then they would know what their tax implications are. And I think the board would be, with the trustees, would be really interested in talking about that. Millbrook did that. They all voted on the budget for the library, and the trustee said, please give us a slight increase this year. We won't ask you again for 10 years. And it passed immediately. People said, wow, thank God. Carol's out right now. Carol's gone, but the Beekman, they raise taxes every 2 years. It's a different philosophy. But if you want, and that's what some of the residents are probably feeling, because they hear that other different libraries do it different ways. Talk to these trustees and say, okay, if $50 a head is required, and that's $228,000, $227,900. If that's what you guys will live within all these years, because we'll keep fundraising on the side to help give them extra money for operating. If you guys could agree to that, would you agree to a certain period of time? I bet these trustees would, because they're frugal and they want to make this work. And that, excuse me, John, that would make the residents feel comfortable that $50 per head per capita is something that they can live with as using Paula's example, which is so valid, for a long period of time. So that conversation needs to happen, and I think people would be happy with that. Do you agree or no?
And I think that what happens is that people don't understand that we're a municipal library. The town board is what dictates how much money the
Right,
library
and I'm just
gets.
pointing that this is a source of
No.
Yeah,
confusion in the
100%.
market, so it should be addressed, because it's like the whole issue for most.
100%, because like Betsy said, if you go to the other towns, every year you sign a referendum, Beekman Library asking for more money, asking for more money, asking for more money. We're a different library. We're a municipal library.
Perfect example is the fact, the town budgeted how much for 24?
227.9.
And I read, we spent as of September, 42,500. We're not just throwing money around, just because they have budget us because of this requirement for the state, for the Minnetonka Library District. You spend $50 a person. Okay, fine, they can budget it, but we're not just wasting your money. This is what we have. We spent $42,000. Maybe we'll spend $80,000, $90,000 by the end of the year. So yeah, there is a lot of misunderstanding about the money. This place is not expensive to run right now. If the money is raised for an upstairs, you'll all have a decision to make to renovate, but you're not there yet. And that's why we have a 5-year provisional charter, to give us some time to work these things out.
But it's obscene that any political party has co-opted that and decided that everyone should have little signs that say no. It's obscene.
It's
This
really
is not
from a
But
party.
it doesn't matter. I understand they don't understand, but people who are going past and saying, oh, well, if my neighbor says no, maybe I should think no. If we're not getting the right message out or the accurate message, then people are going to be fooled, and it should never have been co-opted by any political party, because this is not about that.
There's no political party.
I disagree. I disagree entirely. My neighbor
We have a
has,
new voice that hasn't been.
So this might be a very simplistic question, and I apologize if you think it is, but all I keep asking myself and certain other people, why are we voting yes or no on election day? We have a charter, we have a library.
Right.
Why don't we just go for, I thought that decision was made
Me
already.
too.
Why don't we
There's
go
no
vote?
need for that.
Well, I'll tell you, because there's a
Positive.
group of people that are against the library and they push to get it on the ballot. That's the only reason why. There's a select group of people in the town.
Because legally,
Because I was telling you.
selecting the people that make bad choices.
Correct.
but that's not the
And that
point.
this
And
could be
that's
one
why
of the bad
things are
choices.
ballots for the masses to vote
But
on.
it's
But the
not
problem
even-
is that this is non-binding anyway.
Right, it's a pointless vote regardless, because this is a library
I
and it's
have a
here.
town board sitting in front of me that has a former supervisor speaking for them. My question is, why are the seniors displaced?
But that's going to be dealt with on Friday.
We
And so
we
it's
just,
just
we
like
already
that.
got this.
You really are being socialist for what reason?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I already addressed it.
I mean, I think
For
it's
2
time
minutes.
for
It's
us to
addressed
address,
both
like,
ways.
why this location is addressed it. And I feel like, yeah, we're in a good place, starting place for the seniors. We haven't solved anything. We're just in a good talking place, which I'm thrilled about. So we're gonna do that. Jean's gonna make sure the officers are there. She's gonna work with Greg. He's just there, to kind of review the time and make sure the date's good, because it's really about that conversation. And I feel that, to Dennis's point, and it was raised again, like, why did it become political? It's kind of like to Jean's point a while ago, why didn't we merge with Beekman X number of years? Well, it's already out. Toothpaste can't go
Ship
back in the
settled,
tube. I
right.
can't fix it. I agree with you. I thought, and to the credit of my trustees, like, the amount of hours that we put into this library as trustees, I'm not complaining, even though it kind of sounds like a complaint at 8:30 on a work night, but it's like, really, for a library, like, I thought this was like a win-win. I'm like, sure, I'm in education, I'll help build a library, this sounds great. And it's just really been one hill after another, and we're climbing it. That's to the credit of these people. I couldn't do it alone. If it didn't have them being like, you can do it, I probably would have backed away. I've had directors that we've lost because they've been threatened. So it's not an easy thing. This is not easy. And I'm very fortunate to the board members who are here tonight that you're here. So publicly, thank you, because without you, we wouldn't be, and we know that. So we really hope, and to Dennis's point of what are the bullets,
Community is the number one bullet. That's the number one bullet, building community and building consensus on what we want. So we're starting with seniors, but that doesn't mean homeschooling doesn't have a group. That doesn't mean an after-school group working on homework doesn't have a group. Greg is here, maybe not right now, but he's here, you know, and he's gonna be here hopefully because he hasn't run away yet. And I feel like if this is his first 2 weeks.
Let's try to end where we began. Let's try to end where we began.
Yes.
Welcome to your library.
Yes.
And this is about the greater good. We've heard a lot about the seniors, but we haven't talked a lot about the children,
No.
right? So let's try to think about ways we can take care of everybody, the seniors, the kids, and everybody else. Thank you.
It's a solution for us. We are so thankful and grateful. So that is exactly what early voting starts in this space on Saturday. So early voting that started in this space. I think that
the library fault.
Anybody like that?
Early voting started. Just like the seniors.
Oh, wait, how's okay, nobody else outside.
I will, yeah.